So for the most part, the rear of the chassis is all welded up. Just have a few little spots to TIG weld tomorrow. I also got the pedals sat in right where they need to go and made some bars to go across for them to mount to. Right now, I'm going to kind of trim down this edge for the front of the bed to start making mounts to go off the bed to fit, or to, you know, be actually able to bolt onto the chassis. So these aren't the straightest bed sides in the world, but they're definitely, you know, workable and will look good. So progress on the Love today wasn't that much. I had a lot of other things going on, but started doing the bed mounts, got the bed sides all squared up, hung this one. So yeah, it's this is pretty tricky. And then also brought the carbon fiber front clip up, which Lee is gonna work on. Thing looks freaking so mean from the front, and then like the dude just was, I don't know what he was thinking on these, but I got it for free, so it's, you know, that'll need to get trimmed and filled in a little bit, but for LSFest it's just gonna have a rounded wheel well. But yeah, it's looking like a truck, that's for sure. So sadly, this is the last update you guys will get before I'm gone for the next like 10 days. I head to Sand Hills Open Road Challenge tomorrow with Mike, and then we go to Hoonigan in Santa Margarita, California to film with them. So today I got kind of a lot of stuff in. I mean, it was like I made these bed mounts. This one was just to get the right width in the back, so this one will come out. This one will stay though. I'll probably add another bar going from here to down here just to strengthen it up. So yeah, I got these in. You can't see really these button head Allens underneath. The only ones you'll be able to see are right here and right here. And I'll probably get some nicer hardware, but yeah, as you can tell, the other one's way down there. So, but it's looking good. Also made up a template earlier with Lee, so that he can repair all of this area that the guy had cut out, but starting to come together even more. I cannot wait to take those bars out and have the bed sides actually be hanging on the truck for the first time, but it's really looking like a race truck now. So I started bolting the bed on. As you can see, I made these little brackets that I'm gonna weld to the bedside. That'll just slip down over these brackets so that I can just hang the bedside and then bolt it on. Did that on both sides, just at the top four corners. All the lower ones are mainly just to hold the bedside in and kind of where it needs to be. So I'm gonna weld these on right now, and probably then make another bar that goes from like here to down here just to stiffen this up some. So as you can see, the back bed mounts are done. Tack these guys on for the bed rails that just slide down, and then added in these bars to strengthen it. And as you can tell, like, it is strong. Bed sides are not going anywhere, and I mean, it's loose up there and stuff, and I still have to remove these bars, but I might triangulate the fronts down a little bit, like add a gusset in them, but the back sure isn't going anywhere. It'll look cool once the wing mounts are coming up right here. And I'm not a big fan of this bar, but I know it's gonna help with the side-to-side flex, so it's looking pretty cool. So the first layer of carbon on the inside is pretty dry. Went through and cut some of the excess off, and it's actually starting to look normal now, not all squared and messed up. So now going to add another layer on the outside and then trim it again, and should be close. So yesterday we laid the second layer of carbon on, laid tape over it, squeegeed it out, and I just started peeling the tape back off, and it is flat, it's nice. So I'm gonna keep peeling all the tape off, and should look like a normal front clip by the time I'm done. I'll have to end up going through and sanding some of the resin off, and the excess carbon like over here and stuff, but it's gonna look cool. So this is probably the most like in-depth engineering that has gone into the Love. Measured all of these points for the wing mounts, the wing stands, whatever you want to call them. Now Nathaniel is drawing it up in CAD, which is pretty cool to see. I never knew how like intricate all this was. He's making all the mounting holes to change like the angle of attack for the upper part of the wing mount that will actually connect to the wing itself. You're rolling.
So Cole made up this little drawing of everything for the wing mount on his little Love truck. And when we're using the frame table and stuff, we kind of work from specific datum points. So in this case, we used axle center line, and we work back from there, and then we use the ground plane. So we know the truck is at a certain ride height, we know, and then we can extrapolate out from there. Essentially the truck is set up on the frame table at a certain ride height, and then the table is ground plane. So we can work all of our measurements from those fixed points, and that's what lets us be able to locate the wing in space whenever we're trying to position aerodynamic parts where that position is very critical. So now we're kind of we have one of the wings that Cole's likely going to use, so went over to it and just kind of did this quick sketch of the mounting brackets. This is kind of a quick and dirty way to do this. Basically, I took the mounting brackets, took a digital angle finder, and kind of figured out what angle we wanted to start the setup at. So then from there, you can in Fusion you can scan this in, and you can see on here on this line I drew at 3 inches long. So that lets me go in and you can actually calibrate this. So I can tell Fusion that this is 3 inches long, and then it scales the entire sketch out to match that. And then I can start basically placing all of these different points and start to find kind of reverse engineer the mounting pattern for this wing. And then you kind of end up with this. And those holes were kind of off just because the sketch wasn't actually oriented at the correct dimension. But now once I've kind of put that sketch in, I can use this as my 0 degrees, and then and that lets me put everything at 30, our first hole is 32 degrees from that, and then 5 degrees per hole up. And I kind of figured, you kind of figure out that hole spacing just kind of as you're placing those holes, and you can measure the angular spacing of those different holes, you start to notice the pattern of how it's all working, of how how it was likely designed. And it's pretty easy to kind of reverse engineer from there. So now we're gonna just we'll probably print this out, and that's kind of confirm that what we actually drew and the patterns that we picked up on were actually correct. That looks correct, then we can place this in position and we can start to design a wing mount from there. Right. So tip for if you use Fusion 360 at all, so this is just that bolt pattern brought into a drawing, and then you can export that from that drawing. You can export it to a PDF, and then the PDF, now I can print this out. But one thing you got to keep in mind whenever you print it out, this more settings, it actually automatically shrinks it to 97% size, so you won't actually get a correctly scaled image of what you've designed. So you got to go in and make sure that that's changed to 100, And I've actually found like that I get pretty respectable dimensional accuracy. You know, this is obviously not like working with machining. That's a completely different animal where you're dealing with thousands, but when you're dealing with laser cutting and bolt hole sizes and locations, it's generally like perfectly accurate for what you need to do to confirm that what you've drawn in CAD is actually what you want it to be.
So I'm starting to DA the bedsides to get them ready for primer. So just trying to get all of these big chunks to be flat again, and this thing will look good in white. I'll probably just end up using like white DP, like white epoxy primer, because it's similar to the look of the bed or of the cab. And I'll have to go back in the future and do, you know, body work on this, but it's pretty straight for being as old as it is. So my day so far has been filled with sanding the bed sides. I'll show you that real quick. Oh, not this bedside. I still have to sand this bedside, but I started sanding this one all down, getting it ready for primer, and then also started sanding down the carbon front clip. And it's really looking good. Still have to body working and stuff, but it's starting to be nice and smooth. This side needs some more work, but you know, it's definitely a lot nicer than it was. And now we are getting started on bending up the A-pillar bars. So these are ones that I don't even understand how Kyle does this. He did these today in this Can-Am, and they're good. So hopefully mine turn out pretty good, but I'm sure Kyle will get it done.
Yep.
How long have you been bending cages for?
8 years.
Jeez.
2013, yeah, 8 years.
Kyle used to actually own his own shop in Tucson. He also used to work for, who did you work for? Kelly Moss?
A few different people. I worked with Kelly Moss, Wolf Motorsports, Mueller Motorworks.
He's been around.
Terrible.
He's been to a lot of cool shops, and now he's here, and so it's cool to have him around. And especially, you know, he was one of the people that pushed, you know, for me to actually do the mid-engine, and so without his help, you know, this thing wouldn't be near where it is right now. So we're gonna get going on the rest of the cage, and should have it looking more like a finished roll cage by the end of the night. So I've been slacking on videos a little bit just because I've been thrashing, trying to get all the little stuff done on this truck. But as you can tell, I have a rear trans mount made up. I literally just cut out this plate, drilled holes in it, and then notched this square tube to slide right in. And so that's the top of it. I made this the other day that bolts into the back of the engine and sits right on top of the frame rails. I'm going to add these little guys right here, drill holes in them to pick up on the bottom of the transaxle down there, so that this thing will all be sitting in there where it needs to be. This is a mock-up trans. It is not the same as the G5003 that I will be running. The G5003 is a little bit longer, has a little bit longer bell housing, and I think the height is a little different on it. Not too sure, but so this is just temporary, just for LS Fest. Besides that, today after I get this done and all mounted, I'd like to start or to put in the new wheel studs so that I can get all of the rear suspension bolted back on with wheels and tires on this thing, cut out this bedside and all that, and then sand it down, get it ready for primer. I still need to sand down some of the carbon on the front clip and body work it a little bit, but after that I'm waiting for a seat. I'm getting a Momo seat for it and steering wheel. I'm waiting for a center or a steering column, which is coming from Motion Raceworks, along with a Holley dash like display that connects to that steering column. So the Holley dash will be like connected to that motion column in the middle of the truck, looking all cool. But so yeah, I'm really waiting for a lot of parts, just trying to get everything else done that I can. I think I'm about 3 weeks out from LS Fest. Still have a ton to do, but it's fun. You know, I'm having a ton of fun with it. You know, it's getting down to like where I'm getting stressed because of all the stuff that I still have left, but I should be good, especially if you know, everything keeps going as smoothly as it has been. The A-pillar bars are in, like you saw earlier. I need to do a roof bar, need to do a dash bar, harness bar, might do door bars for LS Fest, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's coming together. So the last couple of days have been filled with doing all the little things that nobody really cares to see, like putting in the wheel studs or bolting on all the suspension. It's stuff that I've already shown you guys in the past, but motor and trans is where it needs to be for now. It's not where it'll end up going. That's not even the trans axle I'll be using. All of the suspension is bolted on. I just need to cut out this bedside and then trim up the front wheel wells. Then I can have all of the wheels and tires sitting on it. What I have to do, or what I have left to do, is I need to make the shock mounts for the rear, just so I can have the Ride Tech shock sitting on it for LS Fest. The fronts are already done, they're ready, but you can see that I got one of the rear wheels and tires on. Forgeline is actually sending some wheels too for it that should be cool looking. And then yeah, the inside is still just the same. We'll probably end up making the roof bar and the dash bar on Thursday. I'm getting a column from Motion Raceworks along with their Holley dash mount and billet turn signal switch, so that should be cool. So I have to install all that, and then need to sand down all the bed sides and the front clip and the hood to get it ready for primer. I'm just doing kind of a white epoxy primer that'll be close to this. It'll all be stickered up and stuff too, so. And then also get a windshield. After that, I mean, it's really close. It should be coming off the table before too soon. Also, Momo is sending a seat and a steering wheel for it. So I'll get a Momo seat in here, full containment seat, similar to this one, and their Mod 88 wheel. And so, yeah, need to just drill 2 holes, mount the pedals, kind of where they need to be for now, and then we should be good. So I got the front clip sanded down and cut out. It's starting to look really good. I'm gonna do a thin layer of body filler just to fill up these spots where there isn't as much resin and some of the low and high spots, and try to clean up this body line some. So I've got a lot done today. As you can see, the front clip is all body worked and smooth. Sanded the hood, sanded the whole front clip. Yeah, this front clip is now, I mean, it's nice and smooth. I'll have to go back over it once I do the flares and stuff and do the final body work, but yeah. And then you can also tell that the bed sides are off. This thing is looking very naked, but I will show you where they are right now. I sprayed the just the inside of the bed sides, and then tomorrow or Monday I'll probably end up shooting it like the whole outside in primer. And then also got the wing mounts all sanded down and in black, and they're just MDF, but I just like Reese routed them and then sanded them down, and so they'll look good enough for LS Fest. Something else that's probably cool is I got my shirts in. I don't know how I can show you guys the back. I don't even know if you guys can see the back, but yeah. So I got these shirts in, and you can buy them on my Shopify. I'll put that in the description. I'm super excited about these because they're something that I've been wanting to do for a while that I've just kind of put off, but I'm really happy that they're finally here. All right, Mike's about to spray the next time I see these, they will be white.